Hey guys, what's going on? So I again come up with a new video, and this time we will discuss about the advance and the GST. So I got a call from a friend. She said that I have my uncle in my home and he is talking trash about the GST. I said why he is talking trash about the GST. Then she said that he is talking some topic like advance and the GST. He is saying that he has to maintain the record, the accounting of the advance and the GST, and also have to issue the receipt voucher, something like that, into a GST, and also show the detail of advance into the return. So I said to her that wait a minute, before to conclude anything, let me just check the provision related to the advance. And then I opened up my act and then read all the provision related to advance, and I concluded with something, that whether his claim, his talking trash about the GST is actual or it is just a myth. So we will find the answer of those claims into this video. So here is the list of the provision which will be applicable in case of an advance, when you receive the advance or you paid the advance in case of a reverse charge. So now the first provision is about the provision relating to the time of supply of goods or service. So we know that what will be the time of supply of goods. It is defined or it is prescribed under section 12. So when you check it, then you will find that the time of supply of goods is the earlier of the date of issue on invoice or the receiving of the payment. So you can imagine now, because the time of supply is the earlier of issue of invoice or the payment, so it means that you have to pay tax when you receive the advance. So it means that the earlier event will always be the advance receipt. So therefore, in case of an advance receipt, you have to pay the tax on the advance received. So but there is also provision which is the proviso to section 12 subsection 2 clause number B. So the proviso says that if you receive the advance up to 1000 rupees in excess of the amount mentioned in the invoice, then the person has the option to pay the tax as per the invoice. So when you receive the payment up to 1000 rupees against the issue of the tax invoice, then in those cases the time of supply would be at the option of the person. The time of supply would be the date of issue of invoice instead of date of receiving the payment. But that condition is only when there will be amount up to 1000 rupees, and also if that amount is received against the issue of the invoice. So suppose you issue an invoice and mention the amount is 5000 rupees, but you got the 5500 rupees, then the 500 rupees, the time of supply of 500 rupees will be when you issue the invoice against those 500. It's not like the time of supply would be the receiving of 500 rupees, but that is only when you issue invoice and you receive the advance payment in respect of only those invoice. So suppose you receive the advance of 500 rupees and you didn't issued any invoice, then in those cases the time of supply would be the date of receipt of payment. Remember that. And the second one is about the receipt voucher. When you receive the advances, you have to issue the receipt voucher as per provision of section number 31 subsection number T3 clause number D. So when you receive the advance, you have to issue the receipt voucher, and the content of the receipt voucher is prescribed under rule number 30 of the tax invoice debit note and credit note rules. So you have to check out the content of the receipt voucher as per rule number 50. And then rule number 56 sub rule number 3 talks about the recording of books of account. So when you receive the advance, then it says that you have to maintain the record of receipt of advance, payment of advance, and also the adjustment made thereof. So the receipt of advance and then the payment of advance and also the adjustment of advance is to be recorded into the books of account. So that is also requirement which is under rule number 56 sub rule number 3 of accounting rules. So remember that when you receive the advance and you adjust the advance into books of account, then you have to maintain that kind of a record. So remember that the record can be maintained in the tally. So you can do one thing, that you can open the advance ledger into the tally, which you already did I think before the GST. And but for advances, remember that you have to now maintain clearly the advance ledger. So because you know that there is a statutory requirement to maintain the record of the advances, so you should clearly write some kind of a narration so that you can identify that how much advance is received, how much is you adjusted out of those advance, and how much you paid. So that is a requirement which is relating to the provision relating to the advances. So you can now imagine that yes, you have to pay the tax on the receipt of advances. So that claim is actual, and he has to also maintain, or he had to also issue the receipt voucher in case he received the advance. Then the content will be as per the rule number 50 of the invoicing rule, and then you have to also maintain the accounting, the record of the advance received, and then the adjustment made thereof. And now the question is how to reflect the advance receipt in the return, of GSTR 1, 2, 3 or the 3B. So now table number 11A and the 11B is for you guys if you receive the advances, and it is under GSTR 1. So in the GSTR 1 table number 11, you will find the two column 11A, 11B. 11A is for those one who receive the advances in certain month, but you haven't issued the invoice against those advances. So you have to mention those detail in table number 11A. But in table number 11B, you have to mention those adjustments. So suppose if you issued the invoice in this month, but you received the advances in the previous month, so now you have to now adjust it. So the adjustment will be shown in table number 11B. So we know that when we adjust it, it means that that amount should also be reflected into a table number, other table like 4, 5, 6 of the GSTR 1. So when you show some kind of entry in table number 11B, so similar entry should also be shown into the other table of the GSTR 1 when you issue the invoice. So table number 11A is for those when you receive the advance in this month, but you haven't issued the invoice, because invoice will be issued as per the invoicing rule. So table number 11A is for those. So when you made the adjustment out of the advances received, so that adjustment is to be shown in 11B. Remember that. And the adjustment is like, suppose you receive the advance in the previous month, and now the time of issue of invoice is happened. So now because you know that you received the advance in the previous month, and now it's the time to issue the invoice. So at the time of issue invoice, you have to mention those one into the GSTR 1 in table number 3, 4 or 6, whatever is the table, but the advances adjustment should be shown in table number 11B of the GSTR 1. And then table number 10 of GSTR 2 is for those who paid the advances, and on those advance payment there is a liability of the reverse charge. So we know that reverse charge liability is in the two cases: when there is a set parameter or set condition which is given under section number 9 subsection 3 in case of a certain category of person, or if you receive the services or the goods from unregistered person, then also you are required to pay tax in the reverse charge. When you make the advance payment on the person to the person who is under the reverse charge, then you have to show the detail in table number 10. Remember that table is not for those guys who just paid advances and on those there is no reverse charge. So suppose I am the person, I am making the advance payment, and on those advance payment there is no liability or reverse charge, and those cases will not be covered in table number 10. Remember that the person who is receiving the advance will have to show the detail in table number 11A or the 11B depending on the cases, but the person who is making the payment of advances will not show is under table number 10 if there is a no reverse charge liability on that transaction. Remember that. And then table number 4 of GSTR 3. Remember that table number 4 of GSTR 3 is regarding the summary of the taxable value and the tax payable. So remember that the tax liability column is on the basis of the net. There is the tax liability under table number 4 of GSTR 3 is on the basis of the net. So net means like the tax payable as per the invoice plus debit note minus credit note plus advances received minus advances payment adjustment. So remember that, but that part, the table number 4 of GSTR 3 is auto populated. So all the detail of those one will be filled automatically from the GSTR 1 and GSTR 2. But you should remember, you should know that table number 4 of GSTR 3 in which there is a column of tax liability. So that tax liability is on the basis of net. net basis, and the net means like tax which is payable on the basis of invoice plus debit note minus credit note plus advance receipt minus advance adjustment thereof. And then table number 3.1 of GSTR 3B, which is the alternative return of GSTR 3 for the first 2 months of implemented GST. But table number 3.1, in those cases also taxable value which you have to provide into that table number 3.1 is also on the basis of the net. So you have to add up like the taxable value as per the tax invoice plus debit note minus credit note plus advance receipt minus advance adjustment. So therefore the taxable value is on the basis of net. Similarly, the tax liability will also be on the basis of net. It's not like that you have to show the advances in separately as required under GSTR 1 table number 11 A, B. No, you have to show the detail of the advances received and the adjustment of advances in table number 3.1, and that is also provided in the instruction to GSTR 3B. So that is the complete provision relating to the advances. So yes, the claim of that person and the argument of that person, yes, that GST is very bad because we have to take care of advances, is genuine. So therefore those person that man or the uncle of my friend is in the business of the cement. So in the cement business, it's usually happen that they receive the advances. So their complaint is genuine, and that is not a myth. So you have to check that you have to maintain the record. Then payment liability will also be on the basis of the advance received, and then you have to also fill out those detail here in GSTR 1, 2 and 3. The GSTR 1 will actually be little tricky because you have to fill out the detail of advances in those cases. Earlier in the service tax, the requirement is also there in case of advance, like the earlier of advance receipt or the providing of service. That is the requirement, and also a requirement, but that requirement is also now on the goods. So remember that you have to check out those provisions before receiving any advances. Alright guys, that was a complete provision, and we will also make the video on tomorrow about the return filing. So there is a lot of confusion regarding the GSTR 3B, that whether we have to file the GSTR 3B on the 20th August and then also file the GSTR 3 again on the 20th September regarding the same month. So there is a two return, GSTR 3B and the GSTR 3 again for the July month. We will see it in the next video. We have to wait for that video. So we will meet again in the next video. Till then, bye bye.
I need you.